Hello and welcome to Cheshire Audio. Now then, Stax headphones. You may or may not be aware, Stax headphones have always been sort of known to be the best available. I mean, not by everybody. There's always an element who don't agree with that. But electrostatics, not conventional coaxial drivers, so a bit different. I mean, there have been electrostatics over the years before, and they've always been successful. Audio-Technica had a pair called ATH50s, I think they were. ATH50. And then there was a company called Jacqueline that made some very odd-looking headphones, but they did an electrostatic, which were wonderful. Can't think of any others. Obviously, there's been speakers over the years, Dahlquist and Quad electrostatic speakers, and it's a different sound, and it's to do with the fact that they don't use a coaxial driver. They use almost like a cling film material stretched across a frame, and then they use magnets, and it uses like static charge to excite the membrane, and that creates a sound. And the benefit of that is the ultra lightweight driver, really, because it means it can react really, really quickly, and it's full range and does everything. The drawback is driving it. Hence, Stax headphones need a specific driver. You can't just plug them into an amp or plug them into an ordinary headphone amp. They work in a completely different way to that. They have a multi-pin plug. They don't have a jack plug. In front of me, we have a pair of L700s. Now, this is your sort of traditional Stax headphone. These are called Lambda, and they all have this slightly odd-looking, I'll be honest, they're slightly odd-looking rectangular piece with this sort of plastic slatted grill on it. Sort of flimsy-looking in a way, and a lot of people criticise them for that. They're not flimsy at all. They're actually quite difficult to damage. I've had people damage them, but it's usually from sitting on them from a height or tripping over them or something like that, which no headphone would withstand. So, but no, they tend to flex rather than break. The drawback with these has been that aspect of them, to be honest. The Stax are particularly expensive, not for what you get, but when you compare them to other headphones, because you have to buy an Energizer. They seem really, really expensive. And these are L700s. These are 1250. The Energizer, there's various prices from about £450 upwards, but generally you put these with a £1,200 Energizer, so it's a £2,500 combination. And they're fantastic. They're fast, they're natural, there's treble you've just never heard before, so sweet and lack of distortion. And I'm not a headphone fan. I'll be honest, I don't really get on with headphones, but I have owned Stax. And it's to do with headphones, with me, it's to do with the way they present the music within your head and hardly any sort of feeling of spaciousness about it at all, really. Whereas Stax do seem to have more of a 3D spread. They do seem as though the sound out beyond your sort of the inside of your head, really. There's nothing quite like them, really. I mean, unless you sort of bring into the equation something like quad electrostatic speakers or whatever, because they have a similar thing, big 3D sound stage, very precise, very accurate. So yeah, that's it. So I've always thought this, and I think many people have. Why don't they make a more conventional, more affordable headphone? I mean, it's obvious why in some ways, because they're quite expensive things to produce. But Stax a few years ago did have quite a big injection of cash. They were bought out by a company, and since then, the quality seems to have improved, and all the new models that have been coming out have been fabulous. So when I got a phone call probably 2 or 3 days ago from Stax UK saying, guess what? I ordered immediately. And what I've got, I mean, they have done this before, to be fair. They have done this before. There have been more conventional, more sort of affordable, some more headphones. But not for a while. It was SR34s, and there have been SRX headphones, I think, before now. These are called SRX1. Conventional headphones, circular, very, very soft leather pads on there, very, very lightweight actually, very, very lightweight, in spite of the fact they've got metal work here, a metal band that goes across. This is quite a heavy leather strap at the top, adjustable at the sides. I found I had to wind these right out because I've got a big head, but yeah, can't get hats. Can't get hats. No, they don't make hats in my size. So yeah, and that's big multi-pin plug, detachable cables, which is good, because if you trip over them or whatever, you damage the cable, you can just plug a new one in. And the Energizer is quite a neat unit. This is something that this isn't new. This has been around for a while. This is the SRM1000X, which came out about 3-4 years ago. Might be. Was it that long? They've always had an Energizer of this ilk. It's sort of evolved over the years, but this has always been the base Energizer. They go up in size and scale and price quite rapidly after this model. Because these are about $450 on their own, I think. Now this combination will be available separately. It might already be, but all I've heard about is the combination. So the two bits together, it's still a lot of money. I'm not pretending it isn't, to be honest. Is just short of £1,100, but you get your £450 Energizer and the headphones within the bundle, and I think that's really good value because they sort of compare against some of the best sort of standard type headphones. Really, they've just got something that standard coax headphones haven't, and if you get into the sound of Stax, you can't go back. I've got customers who've got Stax collections because they'll buy a pair and then they'll buy another pair, and then they'll have the big pair, the little pair, the different Energizers and all this sort of thing, and they get obsessed with them. There's just something about them. So yeah, really pleased with these, and they do seem, even though they're a smaller driver, they don't seem to lack for bass extension. The bass is, as usual, electrostatics, very, very tight. Sometimes, I mean, I've had people say with the Lambda range, which is what these are called, they're a bit bass-light. They're not actually. They go down a long way. They just don't have any distortion or bloom, or they don't add anything in the bass. It's just what's on the recording. And when you get used to that and then go back, this is what I'm talking about. When you get used to that and then go back to standard coax, they sound bloated and slow and uninteresting. So yeah, I love Stax. I mean, I'll be completely honest, I'm not a headphone person. I don't like headphones generally because I don't like the way they sort of restrict the sound within your head. Stax are much more 3D. They're much more sort of believable soundstage wise. You can almost forget you're wearing them a bit, really. And these are Stax sometimes can be sort of criticised for being a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit heavy, but these are lovely. They just sit on there. You can forget you're wearing them, really. So yeah, really pleased with those. If you want to have a listen to a set of these, just come down to the shop, or take and borrow them if you want to be honest. So yeah, been really pleased with those. So that's Stax. Actually sold a pair the other day of the X9000, which is the big one. Absolutely fabulous. 5,200, I think, the top one, and you can use them with various Energizers. This chap who's got them is using them with a mid-range Energizer, but I've got customers using them with the top Energizer, which is about 4.5. So you're looking at a 5-figure-ish pair of headphones, but there's nothing like them. Absolutely nothing like them, really. A better experience in some ways than listening to speakers, which I didn't think I'd ever say, but they are amazing things. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, leave that thought in your head. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in a future video, but don't forget to give a subscribe and a like. See you soon.